been a while since I posted a video. I haven't really been working on any projects that I felt comfortable that were sort of meant for an audience. I've kind of just been crafting the way I've always crafted. I think that's sort of, what most of you guys will be. If you're a crafter, then you're crafting for yourself or for people you like. And maybe you're not thinking, how do I show this to the wider world? That'll aside. I thought it might be interesting just to show what I've been working on for the past 6 months, partly for myself it can be very easy to sort of feel like, oh, I've been an unproductive crafter. If you're particularly down on yourself to sort of think, oh, I've not done enough creative things over the past few months. So there's a bit of that, but also it's kind of just interesting to sort of see how, you just spend a bit of time crocheting or knitting or spinning here and there, like little bits, little bobs. And it's interesting to see how that adds up to a number of finished objects in a few months. Yeah, starting off with spinning, which is sort of the newest hobby for me. I've been doing quite a lot of spinning, so yeah, I'll show you a bit of the yarn I've made and one of the finished objects I have from my hand spun wool. The first bunch of wool, I'll put in a picture of all of the wool, but it's sort of a rather bulky yarn because this was sort of me getting used to spinning on the wheel. So I have about 800 grams of this kind of yarn, which when I bought the yarn, I thought it would be 800 grams would be enough for a sweater for myself. But because I ended up spinning such a bulky yarn, it's probably enough for a vest, but not like a sweater. I sort of impulse cast on a bunch of stitches, which I have here. That was sort of, I guess this is more about sort of big swatch because yeah, I'm probably gonna end up frogging this, but I see what all the fuss is about. It feels nice. It's sort of like, you can get it to feel quite squishy and it hits different. For lack of a better word, I'm not being very eloquent. So I haven't finished anything with this. What I have finished is this headband here. So this is made from hand spun. Basically, it took me being able to spin about 1 kilo of yarn to get to the point where I was able to spin this like fingering weight-ish yarn. I used a mosaic crochet or mosaic knitting technique to get this pattern here. And I'll just put it on so you can see what it looks like when I have it on. Yeah, it's quite nice for the winter because I can kind of just cover my ears with it. And because it's wool, it does a remarkably good job of keeping my ears warm when it's windy out. So yeah, this is probably the first bit of like, oh, this is quite satisfying to have. I have some leftover yellow from that project. I can see myself sort of building a bit of a stash of like similar levels of like leftover hand spun, which brings me on to the hedonic treadmill of crafts. And I've been eyeing a loom. I kind of want to get a knitter's loom, because I'm just imagining sort of like a nice colorful sort of cloth with this yellow and maybe mixing this blue, which I don't have much left of the blue. Sort of a nice way to use up sort of these odd little bits of wool, of yarn. So watch this space. I'm probably going to get a loom in the near future. Just have to decide which one and how big. And I'm probably going to get a knitter's loom because I am a bit tight on space. So being able to fold it up would be quite nice. The other sort of the work in progress I have right now, made from hand spun wool, is this sock. I've just got like one of the toes of the first sock. I've never done socks. I've never completed socks before. So I'm at the point where I'm going to have to do the heel turn imminently. And I've gotten to the point where I'm kind of just procrastinating on that bit because, yeah, I've never done it before. And I'm like, oh, it's going well so far, I think. I don't want to mess it up. But yeah, I just need to suck it up and do it and learn the new technique. Once I get it, once I actually do it, I'm sure I'll be like, oh, why did I make such a fuss about it? And then it'll be nice to have some socks. Yeah, need to overcome my fears on that one. Which takes me on to the work in progress that I've actually been spending most of my time on recently, which is sort of it's simpler, like it's easier to do, not like it's sort of, when I say simpler, it's simpler for me. It's just granny stitches, which I've done lots of, so it's habitual for me. So I'm working on this, what will be a sweater when it's done. So I have sort of, it's just a rectangle. I'm enjoying it because, again, like, because it's sort of using a technique I'm really used to. It's right now, I think at the moment I just need something where I can sort of unwind after work and sort of do something where I don't even have to look at it. I can just watch TV and do that. And yeah, I'm enjoying sort of the color. Like, it kind of looks a bit babyish now that I look at it, but I think it'll work for me, I guess. I have a dress that I think this would match well with. I have sort of a blue and pink dress that I think this would be a nice sort of cover for. So what other projects have I been working on? I guess on the art side of things, funny story about sketching. I went on holiday recently and I brought my sketchbook. And it's really enjoyable sort of having your sketchbook and sort of sitting in sort of a nice picturesque place instead of front of like a nice building or something and doing your sketches. Like, it feels very, like, I don't know, in my head I sort of have that romanticized image of an artist sort of in front of a fancy building. But my skills don't meet that. I'm very much beginner. Like, I'm still learning like how to get perspective right, and everything looks a bit funny. But I've had a couple times now. I don't know why people I've been sketching sort of just out and about, and then people like literally like take their phones and like record me like sketching, and then like put their phone like to like record my sketches, and I'm just like, oh god. But obviously there's a bit of a language barrier, so I'm just like, oh no, like in trying to communicate, no, I know it's not good. No, I'm a beginner. But the thing I really like about sketching while on holiday is that it serves as a really good souvenir, because unlike taking a photo, which I take like not dissing photos, but the advantage of drawing or painting or doing art while sat in a place over taking a photo is that you kind of have to sit there and observe and be in that place for a period of time, for like an hour or so. And so your memory of that place is very much on the page. And when I look at it, my mind is taken back to that part of the holiday a lot more than, a bit like more than sort of the photos I took. It's sort of nice to have that physical memory there. Thought I'd do a bit of crochet on video and chat. I have sort of some tea from Max Vibes. I sort of lit the last bit of the candle here. So yeah, just gonna work on the body part of my sweater here. So here we go. So what have I been thinking about in terms of crafting? Well, there's the age-old thing of perfectionism, which, to be honest, is probably why I haven't posted in a while. Every idea I sort of think of, I'm like, so because I posted 10 videos to date so far, I think. And the way I did that was that I was just like, okay, I have a limited amount of time. I was doing it while I had some sort of days of holiday earlier this year. Oh, bit of a yarn ball mess. What did I do? What did I do here? Oh no, not an auspicious start. But yeah, I've probably every idea I think of, like for the first 10 videos, I was just like, do whatever comes to mind. And yeah, the quality isn't great. It was just sort of put something out there. So I did that for 10 videos, and then I stopped because, especially the last video, I'm a bit like, I did that in one day, that last video. which it probably looks like that. Um, but yeah, sort of, I think a lot of crafters, you sort of do it for yourself mainly. You do it to unwind, to sort of get sort of, or maybe driven because you want better clothes. And the way the clothes manufacturing is now, it's actually not too difficult to make clothes that are better than what you can get at the store. Oh yeah, why you create? I sort of do it mainly as a way to, unwind after work, really. It's sort of the job I do is very like you're in your head. It's very like numbers oriented. So having something physical to do at the end of the day is quite nice. It's kind of like in the same way some people like going to the gym to unwind, which I also do. Um, Sort of, counteracting the very analytical part of the brain that you use with um, yeah, sort of fine motor stuff. Okay, this yarn is actually like, what have I done with this ball? I have completely, I'm really going to be fighting this. Is there anything I can do at this point, or do I just need to, oh no. You know what? I'm gonna have to call it there and snip it from here and start doing the center pull like I should have done from the start. I gave myself a nice center pull ball and then proceeded to not use it. So yeah, and then there's making stuff for yourself versus making stuff for others. I had been mostly making stuff for myself until recently. Probably because it's only been recently where I feel like I can stand behind what I make enough to actually give to someone else. Yeah, I made sort of a sweater for my mom, scarf for a friend, crocheted a few baby blankets for friends. But yeah, sort of why did I start the YouTube channel? Well, basically, I think, yeah, for anyone who sort of makes things, creates things, there's always the urge at the end to be like, to basically share it with your friends and be like, look at what I did. Um, but eventually, you end up sending a lot of pictures of random things you did, and my mom enjoys all of them. But I think at some point, posting it to internet strangers actually made a bit more sense. Because, I assume you're fellow crafters. And so, there's a bit of mutual understanding. Um, but yeah, I'm not really at a place where I can teach. I'm sort of I've been doing knitting, crocheting for cumulative 5, 6 years now. I learned before the pandemic, but I sort of took it on properly during the pandemic, like a lot of people did. Um, so yeah, it's not so much teaching. So I guess, but you know what? I really enjoy how like I watch a lot of crafting YouTube videos, and part of it is just kind of there's like community is overused, especially on the internet. But it's nice to sort of feel like you're part of um, sort of the big world out there. Especially recently, there's been a weird amount of like fiber arts related drama, which I'm not going to talk about because I'm not that, my opinions aren't that unusual. Like, so they're not really worth even mentioning, but like, to be honest, it's kind of nice, sort of, um, it's kind of actually sort of, even though I'm not posting anything related to that, it's quite funny to sort of to get it and to feel like part of the group of, I guess, the in group of people who understand why we'd want to who care about that kind of thing and why it's important to get why you'd want to sort of ensure the reputation of knitting or and fiber arts is like maintained, for lack of a better phrase. Because I think I'm not completing my sentences. The nice thing about the internet, I'm sounding like I'm from the 90s at the moment, but learning how to knit and crochet is so much easier than it used to be. Um, like all these sort of random techniques you can learn. One of the crochet techniques, I want to sort of learn how to do sort of Irish crochet motifs, um, which might actually be a good way to use up some of my like little scraps of fingering weight wool, to make sort of more intricate crochet motifs. But yeah, back in the day, like where would I have learned? Like I could go to the library probably to pick up some new crochet, to learn some new crochet techniques. But and while it's a really good repository of knowledge that way, it's not, especially your local library, it's not an infinite source of knowledge. And like I went to the library the other day, I don't think there were in the library any books on Irish, like the sort of how to crochet those motifs. Whereas there's a few sort of really good quality video tutorials online that I've not got to it, but if I wanted to pick it up, it's there. If you want to learn, there's archived materials from antique books that are sort of available publicly because they're in the public domain. Yeah, it's sort of better time than ever to learn. Again, that's not really what I'm offering. Sort of, in a way, it's almost like a sort of, I was gonna say, oh, it's like a video. I again sound like I'm from like 2005, trying to invent these things. But basically, it's basically vlogging, just me recording. Like here I am. I exist. I am making these. These are the things I'm making. And yeah, if someone out there in the future sees this and goes, "Oh, look at this granny thing that this random person made." So that's not really the reason, but there's a bit of that. Like when you make it, like I keep diaries, and my diaries probably won't make a lot of sense to anyone who isn't me. But yeah, I think for anyone who writes a diary, there is a bit of you in the back of your head. It's like, I wonder if people decades from now, when I'm long gone, what people would make of it. It's not really, in my diaries, it's very like, I don't know what you'd get out of it. But then again, like I've read diaries of, like I've seen sort of PDFs of, like there's a funny sort of journal by someone, I think in America in like the 1800s, I don't remember when. But it's basically just a ledger of, it's just like, oh, on Monday I did this, on Tuesday I did this. But even that's like a very interesting resource. I don't feel like I write enough about what I do though. And funny enough, when like world events are sort of at their most happening, when there's like, when overwhelming things are happening, like I didn't actually journal that much during the pandemic. It just felt like a bit much. I'm sure for people who did journal during the pandemic, that would be like a good resource, but to sort of be like, oh, what was it like then? But no, I wasn't really writing very much, but I was actually making a lot. That was probably the time where I sort of painted and crocheted and knit and like, yeah, created the most. Yeah, actually, like I remember now, sort of when I did all the videos ages ago, sort of I was also dealing with the fact that my hand was hurting so much. It's not a problem at the moment. Hence why I'm able to crochet a fair bit. I find that the main thing that helps with preventing hand pain is switching, not doing too much of the same craft for too long in a row. And so switching between crafts. So that's why I quite like having a crochet project, a knitting project, and I've not done any cross stitch in ages. I want to get back into that. But yeah, the pincing motion of cross stitch was what really getting to my hands. So I'm sure it'll be fine now, but I haven't opened that box. I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, I don't know why it's sometimes so hard to go back to sort of works in progress. Like at the moment, the main thing I'm procrastinating on is the sock and doing the heel for that sock. So yeah, what are some of the reasons that you can procrastinate on sort of, yeah, what are the stumbling blocks? Yeah, sometimes it's sort of, yeah, you get to the point where you have to learn a new technique and you're scared. Or yeah, you get to a difficult bit and you don't want to ruin your good progress so far. Sometimes procrastination isn't so much procrastinating on finishing it, but sort of procrastinating on frogging your work. Like I had that where I kind of realized I had a work in progress from 4 years ago that I recently frogged. And it was just like, okay, I'm not even the same size anymore. Why do I still have this? So I basically had to bite the bullet. And that's for more of a sunk cost fallacy of, I spent so much time into it, and I actually would like to have the yarn back for another project, which I basically, I started another project with that yarn, but yeah, procrastinating on sort of slightly admitting defeat is another form of crafting procrastination. Then there's sort of just random like with the cross stitch, it's like taking, for whatever reason, getting the materials out is a surprisingly annoying step. It's not even annoying, it's just like, I don't know. Like I have some paints under the bed that I'm like, I want to get back into using those ones. I just need to dive under and take them out, and I just haven't. I don't know why that's stopping me, but that's another sort of thing that prevents, I don't know, slightly gets in the way. Yeah, I find that I tend to sort of, like, I'll want to do a complex project mainly because I want the end result. But when it comes to, okay, what do I pick up right now? I tend to gravitate to the simpler stuff like this. Which, it's not a problem per se. Like I'm still making stuff and it's serving the function that the hobby is meant to, which is like it's relaxing. But I if I wanted, I'd like to have a cable knit jumper at some point, but I just know I'm not gonna. I don't know. It's just I'm probably not gonna get to it. Never say never, but at the moment, not now. And yeah, the main one right now is that I want to finish that sock. I should probably just pick it up. I need to, I mean, the main thing that is sort of preventing me is I need to pull up the pattern again. Yeah, and I don't know why I just don't want to open up the pattern. Whereas I'm just freehanding this. That's probably a big bonus of freehand crocheting, is that you don't actually have to have the pattern on you, which, like, you can just, yeah, crochet whenever. I don't know, these are all sort of silly things to procrastinate over, but that's what ends up happening. Um, there's also the question about like posting things, about whether it's sort of creative enough, um, and sort of what level of innovation, or like of how much of yourself needs to be in something for you to feel like it's creative enough. Um, I don't know if, especially as kids, you sort of end up being put into these little boxes of like, oh, this is what you're good at. You're good at art, and you're good at sport, and you're good at, my thing I thought I was good at was math, which is basically what my career, my job now is very maths oriented. Um, so there's probably always a bit of me that feels like I'm not the creative type. To be honest, I don't know how much, like, I can think of people who are like creative and analytical and sporty and like just really annoyingly good at everything. So I don't think there's like an actual, if you're this kind of person, then you're not this kind of person. Um, and by that same token, I know people who um, wouldn't have counted themselves as like readers when they were kids, for instance, but who sort of read voraciously now. Think that's why I think it's very important to try and do the things that you feel like, oh, I'm really bad at, because a lot of that comes from when you were like a kid and feeling like, oh, I'm not, um, I don't know how to do maths, for instance. I think a lot of people think that they're worse at math than they are. Um, or not necessarily, like they might not have the mathematical know-how, but I think people overestimate how much of it is down to like innate, like talent. And like I really don't think it's talent. But yeah, I finished that little ball, and this is what it looks like now. Sort of added 2 row, or I'm partway through the second row. It's probably going to be quite big on me, but I kind of like loose fit stuff anyway, so. But yeah, I think I might end it there. I've pretty much finished that, or I've gone through a bit of the yarn, almost on my tea. And yeah, I'll try to post progress updates, or maybe knit / crochet / spin with me sort of videos, or yeah, sort of someone on the internet knitting, crocheting, as many of us do.